Okay, now so let's talk about where do you get your berries. In the spring of the year, they have the blackberry bushes have white flowers on them, so you want to be mindful to look along the sides of roads or in the edges of woods to see where there might be blackberries in your area. You can also check and find out if there might be some areas, some farms that have blackberries. When I lived in North Carolina 40 years ago, we had a whole field that had blackberries in it, and we cut the grass around it so that we kind of had trails through the blackberries and we could get to them during the summertime. When I moved to the Atlanta area, I didn't have access to blackberries like that. I started looking. I went to the Georgia Farm Bulletin, and there were notices in there, people that had strawberries or had different berries or flowers or whatever. And so I found a woman in West Cobb County who had blackberries. She also had blueberries, and she had a variety of things. But I called her, and for years and years, I used to call her in the spring or early summer and tell her how many blackberries I wanted, and she would call me and let me know when she had them ready for me. She would pick them, and I would go to her house and immediately put the berries in the containers that I was making my wine with. And when I got home, I'd add the sugar and the water, and my wine had started. So I love going to some farm or somebody's house to be able to get blackberries and have them pick them, because that means that I don't have to spend the time, nor I don't get chiggers anymore if I have somebody else pick them. It's just wonderful. But if you want family that wants to pick them, there's some places that have a pick your own blueberries and blackberry farms, so you do that. I have ordered my blackberries, and I am supposed to pick them up in a few days, so you will see how I start my blackberries. Okay, now we want to talk about containers. So what are you going to put your blackberry wine in? Now, the recipe initially called for putting it in a glass jar, and I had a 1 gallon mason jar, or a 1 gallon glass jar that I actually made my first wine in. After a few years though, my husband I think I had given him a beer making kit for Christmas or something. So he had a 5 gallon container, a heavy plastic container that had a lid on it. Then I thought, this is really great. I can make a lot more. So that's when I started making some in the larger containers. So what I have now, let me show you what I have. I have been using these containers. This is a 5 gallon, this is a food grade bucket. See, it's a 5 gallon, it's got the things on the side of it, and when you've got your wine in here, you can tell there's enough shadow through that you can tell how much you have. And then it has a lid, let me show you the lid. And this is the lid that goes on it. Now, if you're going to do it in a bucket, you don't use a Home Depot bucket. Get you a food grade bucket. You can get them on Amazon. You can get them at winemaking shops, a variety of things. You got that. And then there's a hole in it. Notice that there's a hole in here. And then what you can get with this, and they make several different kinds of these, but this is what it has. It fits right in. Let me see if I'm showing this right. This fits right in that hole there. See how that does that? And then you put water in here, and see it has a little hole in the middle of it, so that the gases, when it's fermenting, the gases can come through here, and then you put this on top of that, so the gases can come out, and then with the water in there, it prevents fruit flies or anything from getting, any contaminants from getting in your container. And then there's this top, and this little top has holes in it that you put on top of that to seal everything up really good. And then you put that, and I'm trying to get this right, like that. So then but these are 5 gallon buckets, and what I had started doing more recently, it's hard for me to handle 5 gallons of liquid anymore. So I had been using like 4 gallons in here. I thought I was going to need to buy buckets this year. I wasn't sure whether my son had done anything with the buckets, some of the wine buckets that I had before. So I went to the internet, and I actually found some that are 2 gallon buckets. These are, look at this. Isn't this cute? Isn't that adorable? It's the same food grade bucket. It's got a top that has that hole in it, just like that. And then it has it's all wrapped up. Now, I ordered these off Amazon, and they are, I think they were about $25 a piece or something. But that's worth it because, and then I can make 2 gallons at a time. It'll be a whole lot easier for me to handle it. I wish I'd had these in Alaska too, because I had a 5-gallon bucket, and there was no way that I would make, I would have enough berries at one time where I was. So that's what there is to know about containers.